how do you think about mindset, and why is mindset so powerful?
Hi everyone, I'm Colleen Greco. I am a joyologist. I am a nutrition and mindset coach. I help women that feel stuck, they feel less than, they feel uncomfortable in their own skin. And I help them to reclaim the joy that maybe is missing in their life and put them back at the top of the priority list. And I'm thrilled to be here today. Mindset is in everything we think, say, do, feel. Mindset is everything. It is part of every decision we make and the decisions we don't make, every choice. And when I'm working with clients, I'm trying to get them to break the emotional connection they have with food and heal their mindset so that they don't have those limiting beliefs, those self-defeating thoughts.
Hi everyone, my name is Alyssa Zonghetti. I am a certified clinical hypnotherapist, and I specialize in working with women around creating mindset shifts and changes to create habit changes, to help overcome fears. And so for me, everything, it's all about mindset, right? That is the work that I do. And it really, to me, is the lens that we see the world through, right? We all perceive things differently. We're going to view things differently. We're all going to look at things differently. And so for me, it's really focusing on the subconscious mind. That's the work that I do. You probably hear talk about the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. But what does that really mean to people, right? The way I explain it is if you can visualize an iceberg. So if you think of an iceberg sticking up out of the water, there's the water line, and then there's the deeper parts of the iceberg underneath where it's really rooted and grounded. So everything that's sticking up above the water line is what we consider our conscious mind. That's the more tactical, like the everyday stuff that we think about. If you think about what's underneath that water line, that deeper rooted stuff, that is the subconscious mind. That is stuff that we picked up as children. It's the outside influences, the people around us, the content we consume. That really impacts our subconscious mind. And sometimes we don't even realize it. I mean, we are inundated with information all the time now, right? Social media, regular media, we're always consuming content all the time, and that can really impact our subconscious mind. And so it's really understanding how those come into play for us and how it can really impact us on the daily. And once you understand that, you can really create some lasting mindset shifts to really help you create change, as I overcome those fears, change those habits that you want.
Good morning, Ann Newberry, Smooth Transitions of Massachusetts, and I help people with stuff. Alyssa and Colleen help people with their mind and their body. I help with all the material possessions. I help people with deciding what to hang on to and what to say goodbye to. Sometimes within their own home and sometimes as they move to smaller living spaces, or if they're working with a loved one's living space. In my piece of the world, where mindset plays a big part, is that a lot of people feel when they're saying goodbye to possessions that they're throwing their life away. I hear that a lot, oh, just toss it out the window, I'll get all new, and who cares about the life I've lived up until now? And from that way of thinking, that is a mindset that is going to set your path on a very negative travel. If instead you take the mindset as, look at all the experiences I've had, I'm looking forward to new experiences, and I can keep the experiences in my head and my heart, and I don't really need these material things. I don't need to keep the bags of the ticket to my trip to Hawaii 35 years ago, or I don't need to keep, my daughter's wedding invitation from 20 years ago. Once you set your mind into a more positive framework, mindset really impacts everything you do and you think about, and the choices that you make based on that mindset can be either helpful or hurtful. So why not pick the more positive way of thinking and have your mind set on that, because it sets the tone not only for your decision, but for how you feel about the decision before, during, and after you make that decision.
And it's always interesting to me to hear how different professionals think about it and how it shows up in their worlds. I tend to think about mindset as how we think, and how we think affects
perspective, a lot of the clients that I work with, I have found that no matter what change they're trying to create, it's all rooted in three things. And it's people's level of their self-confidence, their self-worth, and their self-love. And I don't care if you're coming to me because you have a fear of flying, a fear of speaking on stages, or if you're trying to lose weight. It's all rooted in something deeper. And so it's really understanding that level of your self-confidence, self-worth, and self-love. And some people struggle with all three, some it's one more than the other, but it's really understanding that at a deeper level, because that, again, we're talking about the subconscious mind. It really, when we understand that more and where it's coming from, it's not what it is. I just had a conversation previous with someone in the other panel, and we were talking about sugar addiction. And you know, you can understand this. It's not what we think at the surface. It's not that you just enjoy the sugar and you want to eat the sugar. Something is happening deeper there. Whether you're a reward eater, an emotional eater, you know, you're trying to comfort yourself, whatever it is, there's something deeper at play there. So really understanding that for yourself is really big in my opinion. And I think the other thing is, it's so powerful. Our minds are so powerful. If you think about, always give the example, if you're thinking about a red car, maybe you're trying to buy a new car, or you've been looking at a new car, you start seeing red cars everywhere, right? Or you start seeing that model of car that you want to buy. That's our mind at play. Now, there's a lot of science behind that, but it's just a very simple example of how powerful our minds are and why mindset is so important. So, is anybody a golfer in here? Do we have any golfers? All right, I see one back there. All right, I'm like, I don't know. I guess we need to do a Metro West conference golf outing or something. We gotta get more golfers out here. But anyway, I am a golfer. I'm not a good golfer, but I am a golfer. Get out there and have fun. But I always use the example of thinking about a hazard, right? So you get up there, there's either maybe a sand trap or water. So if you're somebody that's, okay, I don't want to be getting in the sand, I don't want to get in the sand, I'm hoping don't get there, I want to, guess where your ball is going to end up? You're going to end up in that sand, because that is what your mind is thinking about. If you think about, my ball is going to sail clear over that sand, it's going to land on that green, it's going to roll right in that cup, that's what you're focusing on, right? You need to focus on the positive outcomes and not focus on the negative aspect, right? The mind doesn't know the difference. So again, using the example of sugar, if you say, I don't want to have sugar, sugar's bad for me, sugar's not going to make me feel good, all the mind is hearing is sugar. The mind doesn't understand the negatives. So that's why it's really important to focus on the positive outcome. So the way I tell clients to flip the script is something like, I enjoy eating nutritious foods. When I eat nutritious foods, my body feels good and it makes me want to exercise more. I feel healthier when I eat nutritious foods, right? We're focusing on the outcome. We want to eat less sugar, but instead of focusing on the sugar, we're thinking about what is that positive outcome. So really focusing on what you're trying to do. Maybe you're trying to land a new job or land a new client. Thinking about the outcome, not like, oh gosh, I hope they hire me. I hope I get the job. I hope they thought I was good, right? That's negative. We need to think about the positive outcome. You need to envision yourself. I know I'm going to be great at this job. Here's what I bring to the table. This client's going to hire me because X, Y, Z. Focusing on that positive outcome and seeing yourself in that job or working with that client is really going to help shift that mindset to that positive outcome. And we were talking again on the last panel, right? One of my favorite things is I get to versus I have to. So we probably all, right, we're all here today, we're probably all thinking about other things we're leaving behind, jobs, families, other responsibilities. You're probably sitting here being like, oh, I have to go do 5 things after I leave here today, right? We're all going 100 miles an hour all the time. And so it can be like, oh gosh, I have to do this today, I have to do that, I have to go here, I have to go there. But flip the script for yourself and tell yourself, I get to do this, right? We get to all be here today among these amazing women, learning from each other, connecting with each other. You get to go do school drop-off, right? You get to go to work and earn an income, right? Those are all amazing things when we flip the script for ourselves and think about it in a different way. So whenever you're feeling tired or overwhelmed, say, I get to do this, because you know what? It means you're healthy, it means your body's moving, it means you're out there living life. And so just flip that script for yourself and say, I get to do this today versus I have to.
Yeah, I so appreciate that. I was saying earlier, I love words and language. It's so powerful, and the have to versus get to is one of my favorite examples of how we can shift how we think. It doesn't mean that you totally deny that you might be tired and you get to do this or whatever it is. It's one really simple script change that you can all
to clean a room. That's a good attitude to have. I joke with a lot of my clients and I say that, most people would rather clean a bathroom with their own toothbrush than spend a couple hours decluttering a room or going through a closet or sorting in the basement or the garage. And so that's the feeling of avoidance comes into play in mindset. If you have the proper mindset and you get to do that as opposed to have to do that, it makes a world of difference in the adventure of finding what's hidden in the back of the closet, or the adventure of what's in those boxes that have been in the basement since 3 moves ago and still have all the moving stickers on them. The other thing is that, mindset underlies all your decisions. It's everything you do, everything you feel, and when you reduce the clutter, there's actually a scientifically physical reaction that you have with a reduced cortisol level, which means you have less stress and less anxiety. So not only is it pleasant to look at a room that you've decluttered, but it's also physically an improvement in your health and well-being. And so that's where mindset shows up. And there's the need to reset your mindset so that you can move towards your ultimate goal. If you are dragged kicking and screaming to that area in your house that has exceeded your clutter tolerance, which is my gentle way of putting it, you will have a totally different experience than if you go smiling and say, okay, I'm going to give myself an hour and a half, I'm going to set my timer, I'm going to have my snack, take my water bottle, go to the bathroom ahead of time, leave my phone in the other room, and spend just an hour and a half in that room. And you'll be amazed to see how much is accomplished in that amount of time, because you're doing it with a positive attitude, a positive mindset, and you're looking at moving forward and you are thinking about how nice it's going to look when you're done.
I want to say, if you are in the middle of going through it, whatever it means for you, you might be listening to us and saying like, oh yeah, they don't have my problems. We're not being toxically positive at all. And I love to tell the story of walking my dogs in the winter. Is there anybody that appreciates like a 0-degree day? Ever? Okay, Michelle, put your hand up. I don't. I'm freezing. It's in my bones. I'm miserable, but I'm out and I'm walking my dogs because it's something I'm supposed to do, and they bring me joy, right? So I can focus on being freezing and miserable, and could they please pick up the pace? Or I can channel their energy and say like, look at how cute they are, and they're frolicking and they're chasing whatever it is they're chasing. Both scenarios are true. Which one gets my energy? Where attention goes, energy flows. Which one feels less stressful and more joyful? The dogs, right? So that's kind of what we're saying. But I want to know how many overeaters, emotional eaters, stress eaters, like all of your hands should be going up right now, right? I know, I get it. And that's why nutrition and mindset are inextricably linked. And that's why when I'm working with people, I will say, we have to get into your mindset or you're gonna gain this weight back. We have to break the emotional connection to the food so that we can put you on your path to your fullest potential, so that you can see that abundance that awaits. We were talking earlier about a fixed versus a growth mindset, or a scarcity versus an abundance mindset. When you're in that lack, you're in that scarcity, you kind of like tend to crouch in and you think of things as like you're less than, or you couldn't possibly, or I'll never be able to, whatever it is. But when you're in an abundance mindset, suddenly people are like, I'm on the scale. Do you want to join the scale with me? I think you'd be great. And you're like, where did that come from? It's because you're giving off that energy that people want to connect with. And it's a practice. It isn't, it's a muscle like we talked about earlier. It's a muscle that you just need to work a little bit, but it's possible for every single one of you. Mindset comes in when you're choosing your clothes in the morning. Like when I put this on, I was like, I'm a rock star. I don't normally think that, right? But like it's suddenly like you feel better. You want to stand up a little bit taller. You want to smile more. It's connected with the people you surround yourself with. You know, if you're always like, wow, you're an energy drain, you're killing me every time I talk to you, don't give them your energy. I wrote an article recently that says energy is the new currency. And thinking about it from like an investment standpoint, when you get your paycheck, you try to pull 20% back and put it in your savings. At least that's what I was trained to do as a kid. So you pay yourself first, and then you have 80% to give to other people. Well, I'm not going to give you 20, you 20, you 20. I don't know you. I don't know who's going to drain me or who, you know, might be additive to my life. And so it's looking at it through that lens where you can say, wow, what is it I want to do and the people I want to surround myself with? And then you just let the others go. And truly that letting the others go piece is so easy because you kind of just stop connecting and they fade into the black. And that's how you bring it back. That's how you get into an abundance mindset.
I was thinking as you were talking about the reprogramming, I think about how our brains have this thing called neuroplasticity. It's like this ability to create new neural connections all the time. The thing is, like, we or you have the power to make that happen. And part of how you make that happen is all the ways that you're talking about, reprogramming, retraining how you think about things. And that's what creates those new connections in the brain that become the powerful connections and the other ones fade away, kind of to your point.
But I just want to share, I uncovered a limiting belief. I know Michelle's in the back. Michelle and I were having a conversation earlier, and I realized, oh my gosh, I am so uncomfortable networking. Why? And was it 2 seconds when we were having our conversation? I'm putting you on the spot. In 2 seconds, I realized it was because I worked in IT marketing for 26 years, and I thought for sure somebody was going to ask me how the widget actually worked. And I was like, oh God, please don't ask me the technical part. You don't want me doing a product demo. And that defined how I engage with people until this morning. That was a random conversation, but that was a limiting belief I've had my entire life. And in 2 minutes, I turned around. So a lot of these things that you're experiencing don't take decades to turn around, even though you've been dealing with them for decades.
And we'll be talking in a little bit about how to make some of these shifts. Anne, could you share with us one strategy, one thing that people can take away today and implement in terms of shifting their mindset?
Well, I think one of the most important things you can take away to shift your mindset is when it comes to material belongings, is to give yourself give yourself permission to let go of things, to say goodbye to things. I know I hear often from my clients, I can't get rid of that thing that I really don't like because it was given to me as a gift. And there's some sort of obligation that subconsciously sinks in that it's given as a gift, and therefore you need to proudly display it. At the very least, when that person is coming to visit, you have to pull it out, stick it on the coffee table so they can see it. And the reality of the situation is, you know, a gift is a gift. It's given to you to do whatever you want to do with it. And if you think that that gift is better off, you know, tucked in a corner out of the way, then maybe the next corner you tuck it in is your donation bag as you say goodbye to it. So give yourself permission to not be the caretaker forever for all these belongings that are in your house, and that it's okay to let go. If you are really, really, really reluctant, take a picture of it. Then you at least have the picture memory, and you can have the experience and the memory, and then you don't have the actual possession taking up space, because if it's not something you treasure, then it's taking up valuable space. So give yourself that permission.
Yeah, absolutely. I moved earlier this year, and I had so many boxes of my son's school age, like K through 12 stuff. If some of you might be, I see some head nods, you know, like everything, like a little coloring page, a little math sheet, and I reduced it to one plastic bin. And I'm so proud of myself because it all seemed so important at the time, but 12 years of stuff that did not
there is no proof. And we talk a lot about the ego, which you learned back in high school. The ego has a bunch of stories that you've told it. All we have to do is reprogram. It doesn't take a long time at all. But the first step is noticing, and it's just seeing, how am I showing up in this person that is really triggering me? If you're having a conversation, I'll just pick on Alyssa because I know her name, she's sitting next to me, and she says something and I'm like, oh my God, she drives me crazy. What is it about her? Because whatever she said or didn't say or didn't do is a reflection of something that is unsettled in me. So it isn't about Alyssa at all. It's something that I want to fix. And that's how I know my heart and my head are out of alignment, and I've just got to get them back in check. And then the next time she says it, I'm not even going to notice. I won't have any emotional reaction at all because I've healed that wound within myself. I think you're amazing.
I'm glad I don't know you.
Yeah, it reminds me, Aileen this morning was talking about that, just like pausing, like being aware, noticing as you're talking about. We're all so busy and it's hard sometimes to slow down, and in order to do this kind of work, to shift how you think, it requires us to pause and notice, as you said. And the other thing I was just thinking as you were talking, I've seen quotes that other people's behavior usually says more about them than it does about you, and that we don't need to personalize it. And sometimes it's good to reflect. So thank you for that. Alyssa, can you also share a tip that people can take away and begin to implement?
Yes. So I'm actually going to do a little exercise with everybody. So if you take out a pen and a paper, you can take out your phone. If you don't have either, it's okay. You can just do this mentally as well. But we're just going to take about 30 seconds. Don't worry, nothing crazy we're going to do. But I just want you to jot down everyone that you love in your life. Okay, just jot them down. Say, write them in your phone, put them on pen and paper. If you don't have either, just kind of make a mental note. And just go through and note everyone that you love in your life. Alright, so I want everybody to now just take a moment and look at your list. And is your name on the list? And if your name is on the list, where is it on the list? And we talked about noticing, right? Colleen was talking about noticing. So that's what I want you to notice today, is where did you put yourself on the list? And are you even there on the list, right? We all heard the expression, you have to, if you fly in a plane, you're supposed to put on your own oxygen mask first before you can help others. It is not selfish to take care of yourself, right? As women, we're caregivers by nature, and we take care of everyone and everything around us, but we always put ourselves last on the list. It is not selfish to put yourself first, because if you want to be in a powerful, positive mindset, you have to take care of yourself first. And then if you're in this positive, high vibe place, guess what everyone around you is going to feel too, right? People are going to want to be around your energy. Clients are going to want to work with you. Family and friends are going to want to spend time with you. And so it's just really important, as I mentioned earlier, a lot of our mindset shifts are rooted in our level of self-love, self-confidence, and self-worth. We don't feel worthy of it, if we don't feel that we are lovable, if we don't love ourselves, if we look at everybody's highlight reels out there, right? We're all on social media, and it's like, oh, she looks like she's got it together. And I'm sure at home, she doesn't have it together. None of us have it together, right? But we all see these highlight reels and we're constantly comparing ourselves. But it really starts with us. That mindset shift starts with us, and it starts there from a place of self-love, self-worth for ourselves. So I want to encourage you all to go home tonight and just take a few minutes, and I want you to write down everything you love about yourself. And some of you are probably like, oh my gosh, I can't do that. Right? Instantly, we probably all go to the negative. I'm like, well, what's lovable about me, right? Right. Exactly. It could be as simple as that. But we immediately probably go to the negative, right? We all think about things that we don't like about ourselves, or, I'm somebody, it's like, I might have 20 things on my to-do list, and I focus on the 2 that I didn't get to, but I don't focus on the 18 that I accomplished, right? We immediately go to that negative place of what we didn't do, or what we don't have, or what we don't like about ourselves. So I want you to go home tonight and write down the things that you love about yourself. And if you find yourself struggling, flip the script on yourself. Look at it through the lens of a family member, a friend, a partner, whomever in your life. What would they recognize, I know there's amazing things about all of you, 100%, but it's really recognizing them and owning them and being proud of who we are and really focusing on all that positivity.
Yeah, I love that exercise, and I hope people will do that.
Yeah.
It really is so powerful, and definitely for those who may struggle with coming up with that list, asking people what they love about you in your inner circle can be really mind-blowing when you hear what people have to say about you that you may not even realize about yourself.
Did anybody put themselves on the list that wants to admit? All right, I love it. Nice. That doesn't mean anything to anybody who doesn't. Again, we're just noticing. But I just always find it, I do this exercise a lot with clients or when I'm giving talks, and it's always that aha moment. Like, wow, okay,
Yeah.
I'm not there, and so working that out for ourselves.
Thank you for that. We have some other questions. I have some other questions for the panel, but I want to just take a moment and open up questions from the audience. If anybody has any questions, I always want to make sure we have time for that. Yes.
It's not so much a question, but like an addition to what you were saying, where you said if you had trouble coming up with things that you think about yourself, then you could reach out to your family and friends. And just like one thing that I did last Thanksgiving is around the table, I set up like little cups or receptacles with everybody that was there, their names. And then I gave little pieces of paper, enough for each person to fill out one thing that they were thankful for each person. And then as we sat down at the table, we got all of our cards that everyone that wrote, and we were able to like read them to each other, and it was like super heartwarming, and it was just a way to like be less invasive about what do you like about me, but also in a very loving holiday moment.
I love that too. I remember I used to help run divorce retreats and, very intense weekends. And we would have little bags, and we would ask everybody to like put little notes for each person in a bag, what they appreciated or what they kind of took away from each person. And it was also like so powerful for everybody to open up their bags and read what people had to say. So I love that idea for Thanksgiving.
I still have mine.
Any other questions or comments? Yes.
So I'm wondering how you balance positive thinking with expectation management.
Do you have a specific example that you want me to?
Well,
I can come up with my own.
yeah, I mean, I can just think about times where there are outcomes that you really want to be positive about, you really want to be hopeful about, but at the same time, you have to manage your expectations because maybe the decision or maybe the outcome isn't like it's not for me, it's for my daughter. So there's a situation where, I don't know if that's enough, but.
Oh, I mean, I have two right there. So I'll just draw off of my own story because I know it can be tough to get personal. So my older son was going to college and it was not working out, and he ended up dropping out and had all kinds of issues, and I got sucked into that spiral big time. Like everything was getting worse, my business was getting worse, my everything, like my whole life was getting worse. And the minute I let go, because it's his life to figure out, and I realized I needed to get my own life, which I say with like nothing but respect, I realized he has to make his own decisions. No word of a lie, 2 weeks later, he was like, I'm gonna go back to college. I was like, what is happening? And he's like, and I'm gonna room with that kid Jack that I met last year, and I was like, you are actively choosing your roommate? What? See, he's been there, knock on wood, 4 weeks now. He has a girlfriend. That's not a thing for him. He went and got his own job. His child, I love him to death, but he has no ambition. Right? All these things, and it's like because I pulled away. Some people say let go and let God. I happen to believe that, but I know we all have our own beliefs, so I want to be respectful of that. But I literally had to get my own life and let him fall, which was probably the hardest thing I've had to do. The other example I was going to use was in my own weight loss journey. So I was not on this path to be a joyologist. I was in IT marketing and leadership, doing just fine. I did not need to do this to myself. But we had a trauma in our house, and I was self-medicating with food and alcohol and gained a bunch of weight. As I was losing the weight, I realized I needed to do years, I don't know. So I set really small goals for myself. Like, I'm gonna treat myself better today or this week and make it really consumable. And these tiny incremental changes that you make over time yield these amazing results. And I lost 52 pounds, and by doing the mindset work, I've kept it off for 5 years. That's why I connect them together. So I'm not sure which scenario kind of fits
first.
you, but yeah, the first.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. And I'm gonna give you a huge hug because I'm telling you, it was the hardest thing. It was like delivering a baby all over again, only like the gestational time period of an elephant.
Yeah, I love moderating these panels because as I listen, I'm so inspired, and it like sparks all these ideas and thoughts for me too. One of the things that comes to mind is the idea that we can't always control what happens to us. What we do have control over is how we respond to it, right? And that's so much of what you were just talking about. The other thing about the small goals, like I like to say that every step is still a step, no matter how small it is. It doesn't matter how small it is.
And you have to
it's a step.
celebrate them too.
Right, absolutely.
Yes.
You have to celebrate them.
If I can chime
Or you get to celebrate them.
If I can chime in a little bit.
Yes.
Managing expectations in anything is a major piece. It's unrealistic to wake up one morning and say, I'm going to declutter my entire kitchen and serve company lunch, and I'll be done with it. You need to manage it, whether it's in weight loss or whether it's in life events or whether it's in downsizing and decluttering. And all of these, I like to equate it to eating an elephant. You ask someone, how do you eat an elephant? Well, an elephant is this big, giant item. And the answer is one bite at a time. And that's really about managing expectations. It's not going to happen instantaneously, but if you keep chipping away at whatever it is with a positive mindset, you will get from where you are today to where you want to be at some time in the future.
And I also want to just comment too, you were mentioning, Colleen, like we're not talking about toxic positivity, which is kind of a buzz phrase out there. And we were talking actually between the first panel and this one, it's not either or, like life can be hard and there can be some good things that come out of it, right? And having that kind of a mindset can be really helpful when you're going through hard things. I often say, when life is going along well, we just kind of go along for the ride. We don't really stop and think about it. We're just enjoying it. It's when we hit bumps in the road that we stop, we pause, we reflect. It's often when people seek out help. Those bumps in the roads are also opportunities for us. Again, if we're in the right mindset for positive personal growth and positive change. But I think that yes, and it is this and it's that, things are not so mutually exclusive. And I think that can be really helpful, particularly when you're going through some challenges. Just acknowledging that it's hard and you're going to get to the other side, really practicing that mindset.
The phrase, trouble is your translator.